and welcome to Normal Gossip. I'm your host, Rachel Hampton, and in each episode of this podcast, we're going to bring you an anonymous morsel of gossip from the real world. Welcome to another bonus episode, y'all. We have officially started production on season 9 of Normal Gossip, and we will be announcing the premiere of that soon. But in the meantime, we did not want to leave y'all high and dry, so we thought we would bring you another previously subscriber exclusive episode that features some extra delectable little morsels of gossip submitted by y'all. But before we get into the gossip, some light housekeeping. First, if you somehow haven't heard yet, Sierra and I are going on tour in September, which is somehow a month away. We officially have all of our tour guests lined up, so bear with me as I recite a bunch of names and cities. In New York, I will be joined by Slate senior writer and Scamfluencers host Sachi Cole. And in Boston, I'll be joined by comedian Josh Gondelman. Josh Gwynn, award-winning podcast producer and host, will be joining me for the Seattle show, while Slate culture writer Nadira Goff will be joining me in Portland. For Denver, I'll be joined by Sam Sanders, the host of The Sam Sanders Show and Vibe Check. In Austin, none other than Dowager Queen of Gossip, Kelsey McKinney, will be taking the stage with me. And for the Chicago show, we have been blessed by the presence of the one and only Shea Coulee. And for our last stop in Minneapolis, superstar podcaster Tracy Clayton will be closing out the tour. Y'all, I am so fucking pumped. These are my very first live shows as the host of Normal Gossip. I am taking my responsibility to entertain extremely seriously, and I have a really good feeling that y'all are going to love the show we're putting together. Also, I just can't wait to meet y'all. But speaking of meeting y'all, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you missed out on some exciting news, which is that on August 16th, I will be hosting a free screening of Splitsville, a relationship comedy that stars Dakota Johnson and Adria Arjona. The screening will be at 7 p.m. at the Lincoln Center AMC. And did I mention it's free? Like free 99? We'll put the link to RSVP in the show notes. All right, that is all the housekeeping for now. On to the gossip. Like I said, this episode was previously a subscriber exclusive. If you subscribe as a friend or a friend of a friend, that means that every month, even in between seasons, you get a special little subscriber-only episode. Sometimes the episodes are discussions of the things that we're reading and watching. In fact, a little birdie told me that August's subscriber episode is going to be a wine-fueled chat about Fourth Wing, the romantasy novel. So sign up if you want to hear that. But just to give y'all a taste of what you're missing out on, here is our May subscriber episode, which stars none other than Defector staff writer and close friend of the pod, Sabrina Imbler. Sabs is one of my absolute favorite people, and earlier this year, they published an incredible series on Defector where they interviewed federal workers whose jobs have been eliminated by the Trump administration. I know that for a lot of y'all, this show is an escape from the news cycle, and I am honestly honored to provide that, but platforms are to be used. In the ever-evolving fascist shitstorm that is the second Trump administration, a lot of stories can end up being lost in the shuffle. Like, what was even happening in the spring, you know? I don't. Well, I do. Because what was happening and is still happening is a lot of people who dedicated their lives to public service being subjected to horrific treatment by the very entity they dedicated their lives to. At the top of this episode, Sabs tells us about their experience interviewing these federal employees, and we will be linking to several of their interviews in the show notes. And now it's time to get into the gossip. We have got 5 delicious voice memos from listeners that happened after that interview with Sabs. Enjoy! Sabs, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back, Rachel. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited. Last time you were here, we were talking about your incredible series where you made all of us watch some iconic Christmas movies.
Yeah, and we talked about sexy Jesus. And I think about that every time I see him, meaning Jesus. I kind of evaluate, like, is he fuckable? Like, how fuckable is Jesus today?
Well, A, I'm really glad to have left that impact on you. And B, that makes me want to ask, how often are you seeing Jesus?
I am in a state of despair, as many of us are. Mm-hmm. And that has brought me back to Law and Order SVU, which has a lot of like Catholic crimes, like a lot of priests doing wrong. So I mostly see Jesus on the screen as I'm like chopping my mirepoix. Is that how you say it? When
Yes,
you're like,
it is.
my tiny onions, my tiny
Yes.
leeks. Yeah.
My little mise en place. Yes.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
I was like, French word.
They're the same. I will say, when you said that you're in a state of despair and that it has made you return to something, I thought you were going to say the church. And I was like, Sabs, I didn't think it's only hasn't even been 200 days yet.
Imagine I'm born again.
No, I was like,
I have found him.
Got some gossip to talk about.
I mean, I feel like each of us has like, you know, like a limit that if we reached, we would find the church or whatever the equivalent of our church would be. And honestly, maybe for me, that limit is like, Jesus is fuckable. All hail.
Well, before we do any more blasphemy, I did want to ask you a little bit about the times that we're living in, which are full of despair, and also about your latest project, which has been incredible to witness. You've been conducting a series of interviews with federal employees who have been fired by the Trump administration. And you recently interviewed Sarah Boehm, who, in the aftermath of being fired from her dream job at the CDC, started this newsletter for other fired CDC workers called Fired But Fighting. Great name. Could you tell me a little bit more about Sarah and this newsletter and how you see it kind of fitting into the broader response of federal employees who have seen their livelihoods upended?
Absolutely. Doing this series has been very emotionally inspiring, but also emotionally exhausting in a way. It's funny how many of the folks I speak with say they've gone through the 5 stages of grief, around their firing, because, you know, it's so hard to get a federal job. It's something that you have to work years toward sometimes. And in Sarah's case, it was really extra tragic because her mom also works for the CDC, and she sort of joined her mom working at the CDC also as a health communications manager. And she was talking to me about some of the great work that she did there. She worked on this project called Heat Risk, which is like a heat forecasting tool where you can enter your zip code and then it'll tell you about like the heat risk in your area. So basically she was spending her days at work trying to help the public understand their health, understand their safety, things that I loved that she was doing as she was doing them.
Yeah.
But Sarah and, you know, an enormous number of healthcare workers, federal healthcare workers, have been fired by the Trump administration and Elon Musk and his like made up department. And something that's been common with these firings in every department is the people who are being fired have no idea what's happening because the people who are firing them are like 24-year-old dweebs who don't understand the federal government, don't know how to fire people. Several of the folks I spoke with have been fired repeatedly, like they were fired. And then, you know, a lot of judges have been contesting the legality of these firings. And so they've been reinstated and then they've been fired through another route. Like it's very, very stressful. And so when Sarah and her former colleagues, after they were fired, they were just trying to figure out like, what is our recourse? Will we be reinstated? Like there were so many questions floating around and so much misinformation as well. And so she and a bunch of her coworkers basically started this Signal chat where they would crowdsource information. And they realized that there was so much misinformation that they wanted to start a newsletter, basically to be like, these are facts. We know that these are the facts surrounding how we were fired, the future of the CDC, and, you know, these other healthcare institutions. And this newsletter became this coalition called Fired But Fighting, which, as you said, is an amazing name. And it's basically just a coalition of CDC workers who were unfairly terminated by these layoffs. And they've become this group to basically advocate for their reinstatement and the reinstatement of other terminated public health workers. And also to talk about just how fucked up this whole process of firing has been, right? Because whenever a new presidential administration comes into power, they'll hire some people, they'll fire some people, but it's never happened like this. And truly just the stories that I'm hearing and the ways that people's lives have been devastated, like I spoke with a single mother recently who sold her house and moved here with her 5-year-old son to like start this job. And now she doesn't have a job. She doesn't have health care. Like it's really infuriating hearing these stories.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, something that is often referenced when workplaces are terrible or toxic is like the role of gossip in it. Like, I feel like the beginning of union drives are often just gossiping. And so I wanted to ask, because this is the gossip show, what role, if any, do you see that playing in the lives of these like fired federal workers at the moment? Like, is Fired But Fighting and the Signal chat that you mentioned, like, are those channels, are people talking to each other basically?
Absolutely. I mean, I have no like data to back this up, but I feel like this is the most important time for DC group chats. Like, I think they're all afire. And I think, the Signal chat that Sarah Boehm started with her coworkers, like, it absolutely was a form of communicating information through gossip, because, some of it is like facts and some of it is sort of like rumors. Like, I heard this is going to happen, because a lot of these federal workers, right, they've seen other departments laid off, the week before. And so they're like, I feel like I'm next. Like, a lot of these people also were tipped off, right, by other friends or coworkers they have elsewhere in the federal government of like, oh, this email is coming for you tomorrow. And so I think they're all enmeshed in gossip, like whether they want to or not. And a lot of the folks I've spoken with have been spending a lot of time on Reddit, because that has become, in weird ways, like a more reliable source of information. Not necessarily about the firings, but about like, what are my rights right now as a fired person? And so I guess TLDR, like, the people be texting and they are often in Signal, because that is a more secure way to text.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense that a lot of this is happening on Reddit, because it feels like one of the few platforms we have that is not, there's some algorithm stuff on like your homepage and whatever, but it feels like one of the most reliable sources of information, and it's also anonymous. Though I will say, people who are on Reddit, it is very easy, if you comment a lot on Reddit, to figure out information. So please think about that. I feel like I'm in a lot of snark pages and people are like, I'm good. And I'm like, you can get doxxed, really. Like, please be careful. So, your Reddit comment history is public.
That is such an important PSA, because after I left Twitter, because it was feeling really bad, I started spending a lot of time on Reddit. And my favorite thing to do is like read through the, like, am I the asshole? Like, or like, is this outfit appropriate for a wedding? And it's like, no. And then when someone comments something deranged, I will click on them and I'll be like, let me read everything you've ever written.
Same.
And like create this idea of you as a character. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same. This is why I'm giving this PSA, is whenever I see something absolutely unhinged in like the New York City influencer snark page, I immediately click on that commenter and I'm like, what else are you commenting on? And then I'm like, this is girly pop. It's really easy to figure out who you are. I don't care. That's not my job. That's not my business. But like, operational security, OPSEC.
OPSEC.
Yes. I'm going to ask you a question that I kind of hate getting, but unfortunately I must ask, which is, you've been doing these interviews for about 2 months now. And as someone who's kind of steeped in it, is there anything that like the average person who is not federally employed can do besides knowing what's going on? Like, I feel like there's a real sense of helplessness, and some of it's real and some of it's not. And figuring out what is and what isn't is helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is going to sound so stupid, but like what I've been hearing from a lot of folks is just the importance of calling your representatives. Like, I feel like Kelsey wrote a great blog about this, I'm sure, about just like, now is the time to be seriously annoying your elected officials who are supposed to represent you, and like letting them know that you want a functioning CDC, that you support national parks that have trails that you can actually walk on because, there aren't like fallen trees or just like piles of trash that grizzly bears are kind of come and like eat while you're walking and trying to enjoy the park. The more noise you can make on behalf of these federal workers, like, it's so unclear what that will result in, but it will, I think, at least help send the message to the people who have a little bit more power than us. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know how much control we have over the economy. It's not something I can speak on.
Unfortunately, I don't understand her that well. She seems kind of made up sometimes.
I don't think she understands herself.
And like, do any of us? Really? Aren't we all on a journey of self-discovery?
I know. The economy needs to go to therapy.
The economy needs to go backpacking through Europe for a few months.
Wow. Have a Cheryl Strayed moment.
Exactly.
Show the toe blister.
Like, go do something, please.
Like 6-month blackout on Instagram and then suddenly like a photo of a sunset and it's like the economy is healing.
Yes. Yeah, no, she needs to have a Lizzie McGuire moment in Italy. She needs to be almost scammed by a guy who can't sing and then find her long-lost Italian sister. And then she can come back new and renewed.
Beautiful. Beautiful reference to a beautiful movie.
This is what dreams are made of, Sabs.
Paolo.
Sing for me, Paolo. No, I think that's really real. I would say for all of our listeners, before you think about sending us a voice memo, call your representatives and then send us a voice memo. Do both. You're already on the phone.
Yeah. There are like 500 billion things that are bad that are happening. You can call them about any of those things.
Truly anything.
You can fax them too. Yes.
They're not going to pick up. You're leaving a voicemail. You don't have to worry about talking to anybody.
Yes, that is something I was like so scared of when I first started calling my representatives. And it's like, oh, I'm not actually speaking with Mr. Chuck Schumer.
No.
Although I'd love to. I'd love to give him a piece of my mind.
Just be like, Mr. Schumer, retire, bitch. There is definitely so much more to say on this, but we are going to get into the gossip, what you're here for. But if you would like to read more of these interviews, which you should, we're going to put a bunch of links in the show notes. One last piece of business before we get into the aforementioned gossip. We would love to do more episodes like this. So if you have a short gossip story, please record a voice memo and email it to us at normalgossip@defector.com and then call your representative immediately after and leave another voice memo saying, retire, bitch. Okay, Sabs, are you ready for some gossip?
I just burped.
So the answer is yes.
You can leave it in. I will say, like, when I learned that I was coming on this episode, I was like, that photo or like those videos of baby birds that like have just left the nest, but they don't know how to eat yet. So they open their mouths because like that's how their parents know to put worms in there. But then they're on the sidewalk and they see a worm and they're just like opening their mouth. Yes. That's me. And then the worm is the gossip story.
That's a beautiful mental image. And I would love to feed you some gossip.
No. So my parents live in a condo association. It's not like a condo, like an apartment building. It's like kind of small houses all on shared land, which is relevant. And so the drama is that there are these two cliques in the condo association. We have the old timers who have been there for decades, and then the young people, which is a relative term. It's like my parents and their group of friends. So it's like, and they're like late 50s, early 60s kind of. And so the board is all old timers, and it's dominated by someone I'll call Nancy. She's the queen fucking bee. Absolute nightmare of an 80-year-old. And there are a handful of people on the board, all in the old timers group. My dad was on the board for a little while, but he quit because he realized that Nancy was just changing the rules to fit whatever her personal agenda was. And he is a man of principle, and so he quit. But one of the board members is a man that I will call Ralph. His condo faces my parents, and there is a lot of people in this condo association are artists or art collectors. So there's a lot of like big sculptures or like metalwork or kind of cool art on people's like kind of portion of their own lawn or outside. And so my parents wanted to put out, they got these like street signs that they won from some silent auction from like streets that we used to live on growing up. So there's like these like metal street signs. and they wanted to put them up outside their condo. And so they did. They went ahead and did that. And there's also this like kind of metalwork lizard piece of art that they wanted to put up. At the next board meeting, Ralph pitched a fit. He said that they had to take those down because there's some rule in the bylaws that say you can't hang art up on the outside of your unit. And my mom was like, okay, what about the like big ass sculpture outside of Nancy's unit? And that flustered Ralph. He had not considered that. Or like he had been caught red-handed. Also keep in mind, this is a group of like a lot of them are lawyers or retired lawyers. So they're all arguing with each other. And Ralph is like, okay, it's like switch tactics. Like, well, sure, fine, but those are actually art. And these street signs are not art. And my mom was like, who are you to decide what is or is not art? And I am, at the time, I'm living with my parents, and I'm upstairs in my room, and they're having this board meeting in my parents' living room. And they are screaming at each other. That's not art. Well, who are you to decide what is or isn't art? Are you the god of art? And it was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. My mom doesn't yell often. She's much more like kind of, she'll do the like biting comments, but she doesn't yell. She doesn't raise her voice. Oh boy, I have never heard her yell like this. Defending her metal street signs as art. So anyway, she gave up. They did not put up the art. And they took down the lizard, which also, okay, the street signs, sure, but this lizard, very clearly art. Whatever.
I don't even know where to start with this. I always love a dynamic where you're like the younger people in their 50s or 60s. And it's like, okay, we are in a specific place right now.
Youth is always relative. But like, as I was listening to this, I was like, this is the perfect thing for an 80-year-old person to do, which is like not hold political office for the U.S. government, but instead sit on a board of your condo and stir some shit. Like, that's appropriate.
You're entirely right. I would rather Ralph be arguing in someone's living room about what constitutes art.
A really philosophical question.
No, really. I'm like, how are you going to get to the bottom of that question in this living room? Like, I guess they just decided nothing is art. I want to see the lizard statue, by the way.
Yeah.
I also want to see the street signs.
Whenever I looked out my window in one of the apartments that I lived in, I saw like a Barb flag, like a Nicki Minaj, like saluting over the American flag. And like, it was so big. It was like, wow, the beautiful skyline and like Nicki Minaj. But it's like, that's that person's right to like hang that flag. And like, yeah. I grew to appreciate it. And like, maybe Ralph would grow to appreciate the metalwork lizard over time.
No, it's true. I mean, I want to see what Ralph would do if he saw the Barb flag hanging from somebody's condo balcony.
I think his life would be changed.
I think he would become a Barb. I think he would learn all of the words to Nicki's verse in Monster. I think he would.
For the condo talent show.
The condo association talent show. If I bought property, that's mine. You can't tell me what the fuck to do with it. How is there a whole association, homeowners associations, condo associations, co-op boards that are telling me what to do with my property? That's like coming into my house and being like, your cat can't do that. Fuck you. That's mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think as long as we have the system of private property as it operates currently in the United States, like, let me hang my fucking lizard outside of my fucking condo.
No, literally, abolish private property. I'm okay with that too. But if we're going to have private property, I'm going to do what I want on it. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. This makes me want to ask, have you ever found yourself in an argument and like in the middle of it, you can tell that you're like, this is I shouldn't be yelling like this. There's no reason for me to be this upset.
Yes, I have been there.
The one that's coming to mind is me and my roommate once. It was like midnight. I think this was like during the Delta wave of COVID. So we were like back inside after having the vaccines, and we were like, I can't believe we're doing this again. And it was like 1:30 in the morning. And we were arguing about, for some reason, Harry Potter. Don't know why. We both are like, fuck J.K. Rowling. But
ahead of your time.
Yeah, this was 2021, so she was already on her way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
But we were like, I think the argument was predicated on like, why could Harry not see the Thestrals when he had seen his parents die? And she was like, well, it's because he was a baby. He didn't know. And I was like, so it's like you have to understand death to see death. And then at some point, I remember yelling, can blind people witness death? And that was the moment that I was just like, and you know what? It's time to go to sleep.
And it's bedtime.
And it was also the angriest I've ever been at her. Like, we don't get mad, but it was only this argument. And it was just like, we got to go to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a good question. I think they can. Experiencing death is not just relegated to one sense.
Right?
You can touch when someone dies. Oh God, we don't need to like go into corpse talk, but like they become cold, they become stiff. Like maybe there's a whiff of death that emerges, like a pheromone.
Oh, there's like a death rattle. Like there's all these other things. Yes, exactly. I'm like, he should have been able. That's a plot hole. Fuck you, J.K. Rowling. He should have been able to see from the start.
My version of that is when I was in high school and I was at an aquarium with my entire family. We were walking in the aquarium and my parents were like, turtles are amphibians. And I was like, that's not true. They're reptiles.
Yeah.
And my entire family were like, they live in water. They're amphibians. And I was like, no, amphibians can breathe through their skin. Amphibians are frogs and newts. Turtles are reptiles. My parents were like, you see these turtles? Like, they're in the ocean. Like, that's an amphibian. I felt so crazy. And I was like, I know it. Right. And I couldn't tell if it was like an elaborate bit, but I really think they all were so convinced. And like, I don't even think they really cared that much, but they were all ganging up on me. And I felt, and I was screaming at the aquarium. I was screaming.
The performance of this argument, like your voice, I was like, your voice work, incredible. Let's just start there.
I'm back there.
But also, there's nothing more enraging than everyone being wrong, but because there's numbers, they're right. And you're like, no, I'm right. No, I can see that right now. And also, you won. You're the creature expert.
But you know what? If I brought this up to them again, I'm sure they would still be like, nope. They're amphibians.
100%. Yeah, they can never admit that they're wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We've gone far off the trail.
Okay.
On this original.
Let's march back.
Let's march back.
Lest we not get lost in the woods.
In the ocean. In the sea.
Where the amphibians go.
Yes. Not the reptiles.
No. Reader. Listener. That's not where they live.
Okay. Next gossip. I hope it's about an aquarium.
A friend of a friend is in a birding group. It's
Whoa!
Actually a feminist birding group in her city. There was an unofficial feminist birding group, and there is an official organization called the Feminist Birding Club, and they had started an unofficial chapter of it. So they just didn't go through kind of like the rigmarole of it, of getting all the paperwork set up, but they had a pretty well-established group. It was a very nice community for them. It was great. This past winter, they noticed that someone on Instagram has started their area's feminist birding club. So, of course, they're like, oh, someone in our group decided to start Instagram. Turns out it was no one in their group. It was a different group of people entirely. And a couple people in the group reach out to this Instagram account, and they're like, hey, like, who's doing this? We'd love to connect. Like, we have an unofficial group started already, and it's, we're really excited about this starting. and they got ignored for weeks. Like, definitely kind of a weird vibe of, wait, why aren't we like connecting? Like, this would be really nice, just if you're starting a group and that group already exists, like, why not like join together for it? One of them finally gets responded, and it's just kind of like a blow off message of like, oh, we'll reach out once we're starting officially. After some, light internet stalking that this friend of a friend did, they saw that the individuals who were running this group, they didn't have any events for months, like about 6 months. This official feminist birding club didn't have any events for months, but people had listed it on their LinkedIn being like, I'm the executive director of of the feminist birding group chapter in our city, and it just gave off like a really weird vibe. So yeah, people just kind of got blown off, and now it's like this strange dynamic of there's the unofficial group and then there's this official group, and the official group is not interested in connecting.
My jaw is on the floor.
No, literally. Also, the fact that I was like, I hope it's about an aquarium. And it wasn't, but like, close enough.
Basically, the aquarium of the sky. With the fish of the sky, which is what I call birds.
This makes me want to ask, is birding like a male-dominated field?
I think historically, yes. A lot of white men. I think if you think like, who subscribes to Audubon magazine?
Okay.
Of course, yeah, people who aren't men have always birded. But in recent years, there have been sort of this wave of like identity focused, not to be like historian, identity focused like birding groups to help make like safe spaces for folks who want to bird. There's also been an amazing wave of like more accessible birding groups, like people who do bird sits for people who aren't as mobile or can't, do a walk that's like, which is like amazing. I'm such a big supporter of like feminist bird clubs, but I love intercommunity drama. I love drama when it's like I'm politically aligned with every single person in this thing, and yet everyone is acting poorly. I do love that.
That is my favorite kind of drama, because I love drama where there's no real clear villain. It's just people being people, where it's like, I know that if push came to shove, we are all actually on the same side. Like, I know that if the apocalypse allegedly starts, like, we're going to be Mad Maxing in the same car. But I'm still going to have beef with you because you're a person and I'm a person and we're different people.
Absolutely.
So I love that this unofficial feminist birding club is fighting with the official feminist birding club, and also the official feminist birding club is like also not doing anything. It's just a name that people are putting on their LinkedIn. Also, is it impressive to have this on your LinkedIn?
I was like, what roles are you seeking?
That this is an impressive thing to have. Like,
also, like, not to denigrate the work that goes into a birding group, because planning events takes a lot of work. Like, you are providing expertise, but specifically the title executive director of like a local chapter of a birding group, I'm like, okay,
we're getting a little too far here. But also, running a birding group does seem like work, but this one's not doing anything. They don't have events for 6 months. So it's like, what are you executive directing?
I think writing that LinkedIn update.
And you know what? That's a lot of work. There are some real people who make LinkedIn their jobs. I've heard about them.
10 lessons I learned from being the executive director of my local birding group.
Official feminist birding club of this metro area. I love that. I think that the beef should become even more pronounced, especially if there are dueling Instagram pages. Like, I think that the unofficial group should change their title to official so that people are even more confused. Like, I want the stakes to be upped even further. I want anyone who goes to the city who is a feminist, who's like, I want to join a feminist birding group, to Google and then immediately be informed of this beef. Like, I want it to be so clear that something's going on here.
I love that. I mean, it also, like, what is the official chapter posting on Instagram if they don't have any events?
No, exactly.
Like, what is there to post about?
Anyone can do that.
Anyone can do that.
Yeah, I could go on Google Images and get a photo of a cardinal.
And I bet it would be beautiful.
I bet it would be beautiful. There was a cardinal in my backyard the other day, and I was like, hello, friend.
A male.
It was red.
A male feminist.
Yes.
He was like, ally. I support you in your podcast.
That's exactly what he was saying to me. Wow. Please manufacture more drama within these birding groups and get back to me. I think it's imperative for my mental health. Thank you so much.
Please.
Next.
So when I was in college, I had a group of friends who really liked to play board games. And so one weekend, we're in one of the guys' apartment. We'll call him Eric. And there's like 5 or 6 of us, mix of genders and kind of different levels of friends. And we're playing Catan. And as background, I had never played before. I was never really that interested. That style of game has never been that attractive to me. And like also I had beef with the game Risk growing up. So I just like never really appealed to me. Everyone was kind of helping me understand the rules, understand just like the basics of like, hey, generally like this is what people would do. This is the general common knowledge that everyone here has, but you don't, will help you out. And I also note that this was a like custom Catan set that had been handmade by Eric's girlfriend, Jennifer. And so, great, we're playing on this beautiful like handmade set that was like laser cut in the, university wood shop or whatever. I'm learning how to play. We're having a good time. I happened to win. It was mostly luck. I like had happened to go first. I happened to draw some victory point cards. Like it just happened. Great. Everyone's in good spirits. Come to find out that night, Eric and Jennifer got in a little fight. Jennifer felt like Eric was helping me too much and like showing me preferential treatment, and then like created this whole story about how like he like emotionally cheated on her with me, which was like the farthest thing from the truth. But it went from just like a fun little game night, like using the nice custom handmade like birthday gift or Christmas gift or whatever, like gift game set that it was, and then they broke up that night, and it was pretty much because of me. So yeah, I can't think of the game Catan without thinking of that night.
Listen, who among us has not been emotionally cheated on by their boyfriend at a casual mixed gender board game night?
With a laser cut, handmade Settlers of Catan board game. Oh man, that was a ride. Sabs saw my face at Settlers of Catan and immediately started laughing. I have nothing politically against board games. I am so board game people. Again, this is like the Mad Max situation. I know that most people who play board games, we're going to be in the same car when the apocalypse happens. But truly, there is nothing I hate more. Because I don't even understand the rules to Monopoly. Like, this is not I played Life, and I'm okay at that. But like the game.
I love spinning that wheel.
Exactly. I'll play a little Twister. But like there's nothing I hate more than being in a room of people who are like really into board games. Because if you're an adult and someone's playing a board game, they're really into it. There's no casual board game interest. I hate when people explain the rules to me because I know I'm not going to understand them. And I know that the people playing the game are going to get upset because I'm not understanding the rules. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you that there is no way I'm going to understand these rules. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the game. It is the way my brain works. Please just don't involve me in this. If I could be in a corner smoking weed and like being like, ooh, like doing a little, like if I could just be a cheerleader and not play, I would love that. But please don't involve me. And this is why emotional cheating.
No, I think that's so fair. I mean, a question that I had from the very beginning of this call is like, how do you have beef with a board game? Like having beef with Risk? But it's like, it sounds like you, Rachel, have beef with all board games.
Yes, I do. This is a whole realm of things that I'm just like, The rules for this are very opaque, and there's only so much room in my head, and I'm saving a lot of space for what's happening on Married at First Sight Denver, and I just don't really think I have space to learn how to play Settlers of Catan.
And that's so wise.
I cannot believe they broke up, though.
Really wild. I mean, I'm sure it was coming. I'm sure there were countless tense board game nights like before this one with, I'm sure, other wild allegations. I mean, I imagine they're just going to find like another board game boyfriend and girlfriend.
What if this was just like their relationship was perfect up until this night?
Wow.
And that was just it.
I guess that's the power of Catan. Again, it's like, I know that game involves building roads, I think. Like you build the longest road.
You know, I don't know.
I know, neither of us know. We're like the two. Yeah, I feel like it's because when I'm also not a board game person or a card game person, and whenever people play, I just always have opted out. And so now I don't know how to play anything. And I just have like, well then, okay, well at this party, I'll just watch from afar. But I do understand that when you are in that moment, though, like, I have done Mario Kart. I have been racing. Yes. I have thrown a controller on the occasion. Like, I understand that things get heated. But, oof, emotional cheating at the Catan.
Emotional cheating at the handmade Settlers of Catan board
Laser
game.
cut.
Laser cut in the university woodcutting lab. The use of university resources for
crucial element to this story.
Emotional cheating? I also love that this caller had never played before and then won. I love that.
I mean, that's so you coded. That's so you going to Atlantic City for the first time and then playing the slots and then winning like $387 and being like, I'm out. While all of our coworkers who like to gamble are like working hard, like at the table.
They're like putting a day in at the mines. Mm-hmm. And I'm just walking in like, I guess I should do this before I leave. No, that was a peak moment for me.
I think that's the real winning mindset. Like, that's what Roald Dahl taught us in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
You're
just
right.
Like, you're not going to win this factory if you, I think, I'm like recalling my book report. Like, you're not going to win this factory if you buy thousands of tickets and like game your way into the system like Veruca Salt and all these rich kids. It's like,
no, exactly.
Just Charlie with his 4 grandparents, like the Rat King of grandparents who share the bed with their legs all tangled together.
Did you just say Rat King?
Am I wrong? That's what they're doing there. I don't want to see those legs.
Not wrong. And it's like when Charlie's grandfather just springs up out of bed. Like, I'm sorry. You could have been having a job this whole time. When he just extracts himself from the Rat King of grandparents, and it's like, bro.
Wow. I know. All he needed to do was put on his LinkedIn that he was the executive director of his local feminist birding club, and he would have offers out the wazoo for content marketing positions.
Correct. At the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory. Correct.
Non-union.
Of course. The Oompa Loompas were not unionized.
Oh, no, it does seem like they were enslaved. We hate to see it.
Well, are we ready for the next gossip?
Yes.
I just remembered something from my childhood that made me giggle, and I wanted to tell you about it. So when I was maybe 6, I snuck into my older sibling's room, and I took a Goosebumps book, and they saw me with it, and they said, "Oh, you're too young for that. That's too scary for you. You're just a baby." And I needed to prove my sibling wrong. I needed to prove that I was a big kid and I could handle it. So I sat at the kitchen table with a snack, and I read this book. The snack was a hard-boiled egg. And I didn't think it was that scary. And my 6-year-old brain attributed that to the egg. And so for a lot of my childhood, I believed that if I was eating a hard-boiled egg, I could not be scared. And so I read so many Goosebumps books, but I would not do it without a hard-boiled egg.
Okay, first, the giggle at the end of that voice memo, like, I love it. I'm just like, I know that giggle where you're just like...
You're like, I guess I'm pretty quirky. Guess I'm a little bit of a freak, like whatever Jughead said on Riverdale. I'm a weirdo. Wow, not the emotional support egg. At first I was like, this person, like, where did you grow up? Where like you, like in like some impoverished, like famine, like peasant village, where like your treat of choice was like egg.
A hard-boiled egg.
But then egg became source of power. So
yeah,
I love that.
I'm really curious because Bernie was 6 when this happened. Did you boil the egg yourself, or was there just a supply of hard-boiled eggs in your house? Like,
as someone who comes from an egg family, we had a little Tupperware of hard-boiled eggs because my mom was really into protein.
Protein mom.
Protein mom. And we had one of those like cool egg slicers. I don't know if you've seen them where like you could put the egg inside it and then it was like many little guillotines that you would like pull over and then your egg would become like many slices.
Yes.
And I thought that activity was really fun. And then I was kind of obligated to like eat the egg after I did the egg slicing activity. But there were eggs aplenty in the Imbler household.
Did you like eat them cold?
Yeah, I would salt and pepper them. I guess I'm like, wow, I shouldn't be projecting onto Bernie like an impoverished egg childhood.
No, I'm like, the way you were like, what kind of impoverished childhood were you living where egg was your treat? And you're talking about how guillotining the egg is one of your favorite activities.
No, this is a real moment of like self-reflection, I guess. I did spend many, many afternoons eating a solo egg. But I wasn't smart enough to actually like make something of that egg or have that egg symbolize anything.
I was going to say, did you feel emotionally supported by the egg?
No.
Oh, well.
I think I resented egg because it's like, what if instead of egg, I could have Cheetos? Like,
no, yeah, the better snack.
Yeah, like an actual snack.
I've learned so much about eggs.
Do you have like a relationship to hard-boiled eggs? Do you eat them? Pop one in?
Every morning, my dad eats the exact same breakfast, which is 2 pieces of turkey sausage, 2 slices of toast, and 2 hard-boiled eggs.
Wow.
And he, like, those eggs are boiling so long that half the water is out of the pan. Like, he is hard boiling those eggs. So for a really long time, I thought I didn't like hard-boiled eggs because I was like...
Because he was eating geodes.
I was like, this is not good. I don't like this. But recently, as an adult, living by myself, I'm often just like, I need to eat something fast. Like, I just need to eat something. And so recently, I've gotten into soft-boiled eggs, where they are cooked for exactly 10 minutes and have like a little bit of like hardness to the yolk, but not like a whole, like it's still like a little bit jammy. And so I'll usually eat like in the middle of the day, just 2 soft-boiled eggs. And I'm like, that'll keep me going through this next meeting. So I do have a relationship. I guess that's my emotional support egg.
Yeah, you are an egg girl.
I am. I became an egg girl as an adult, but I was really, there are so many things that my parents cooked in fucked up ways where I was like, I just thought I didn't like them. Eggs, steak, because they eat their steak well done. So I was like, I don't like steak. And then I had a medium rare steak and I was like, oh, that's different. Cabbage, they love boiled cabbage, which I think is like a Southern African American thing, but they boiled the shit out of their cabbage. So it was just like I can't. So I thought I didn't like cabbage for a long time. And now I'm like, a little raw cabbage is cute. All to say, I have emotional support egg. I understand emotional. I was judging emotional support egg. I'm not going to lie. And now I'm like, I get it. When life is scary, an egg does comfort you.
Put that on like some shiplap. Put it in my kitchen.
When life is scary, eat an egg. You'll probably feel better. The protein will definitely make you feel better.
Me like sobbing over my laptop, like reading the sign, popping one whole egg in my mouth because I don't have my slicer anymore.
Wait, do you just like eat the whole egg?
Well, now I don't really have me and Egg have kind of broken up.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
In part because of the economy. But also I think the slicer, like that made the activity fun. That made egg time like a delight. And now egg time is so serious and adult. And
no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's really fair. You and Egg broke up because Egg was caught emotionally cheating over Settlers of Catan. Everything comes back. Everything comes back.
All roads lead back
to emotional cheating.
And we'll have to think about that for a while.
And I will be. Okay, I think we have one more.
Crazy.
What else could come for us?
I know.
Okay, so on Saturday night, my friend Amy and I went to a concert, and beforehand, we went around the corner to this taco place to grab something to eat. And as we're waiting in line, I clocked this guy to my left, and I'm like, God, he looks so familiar. Like, I know him. But how do I know him? And I just could not place him. Like, he didn't seem like a famous person, like a celebrity, but, like, I was thinking maybe I met him at, like, a house party or something, but, like, he was so familiar. So anyway, we go and sit down, and we're at the table next to him, and I'm telling Amy, I'm like, I have to find out how I know this guy. Like, it's going to eat me up. And she's like, well, he kind of looks like Pedro Pascal. And I was like, no, it's not that. So I turn around, I tap him on the shoulder, and I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but, like, you look intensely familiar to me. Like, I feel like I know you. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, what's your name? He's like, and he's looking at me, and it's like he wasn't making any like effort to be like, maybe it was this. And I was like, okay, well, I guess now I have to ask you like everything you've done over the last like 3 months to figure out where we've overlapped. And this like silence like lingers, and he's like, but I'm also a porn star. And my friend Amy started laughing because she thought he was fucking with me, and I was like, wait. And he's like, but my name isn't like I have a porn name. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, and I was like, oh my God, that's it! So I recognized him from porn. And it was so funny because I was like, I told him, and this is true, like, I really don't watch porn. I don't really like it. Generally, it's not like for me. But he's in this, like, he's only in, like, female-friendly porn that's, like, on this one website that's, like, made by women, like, you know, everything's like written, produced by women, and so it's like a very, very different vibe. But anyway, I was like, oh my God, I was like, can I hug you? We like hugged. But I was like, I just gotta tell you, like, you are like the only adult actor I've like ever looked up, because I love like what sincere intimacy you bring to your scenes and stuff. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, as you can imagine, I don't get a lot of feedback about this. He's like, that means so much to me. And I was like, oh my God, of course. Like, honestly, thank you. Like, I think the industry could, like, really benefit from, like, taking a page out of your book and, like, doing more things like that. Like, it's really nice. And he just was like, that is so touching. Like, thanks so much.
Drop the actor's name.
I know. What were those bleeps? Come on.
No, I'm like, looks like Pedro Pascal. Intimate scenes that the rest of the porn industry should take a page out of his book. Drop the name.
We'll do our own investigation.
I will be doing my own investigation. I love literally this entire voice memo from top to bottom. I did get really excited when you were like, looks like Pedro Pascal. And I was like, are you going to see Pedro Pascal in this bar? And then it wasn't. And I got really disappointed. But then I was brought right back up. This is incredible. I love this interaction for everyone. I love that he got honest feedback. He should get good feedback for his work.
I know. I'm like, what do performance evaluations look like in the porn industry?
Right?
Like, I want people to be getting like kudos, like, hey, like, really loved, that shoulder thing that you did. Like, keep it up.
Shoulder? What?
I don't know.
Sabs.
I was like, what could you be graded on?
I'm like, I don't know if I've ever noticed shoulders. I love this gossip. This was beautiful. I love that she was so committed to recognizing him that she kept the conversation going. Because if I went up to someone and was like, where do I know you from? And they weren't giving me anything back, I would be like, okay, well, time for me to fuck off and die.
Yep.
And for her to be like, I'm going to go through the last 3 months of things I've done to get to where I know you from is like, I really, really respect your confidence and self-esteem because I don't have that.
No, it's like you persisted and you got there. Like I was stressed. I was stressed in the middle where I was like, oh no, like, well, yeah. But it's funny. I had like I've never had an experience like this. And now I'm like, I yearn to have an experience like this. But I was watching a play recently and one of the actors, I was like, that person looks so familiar. And in this case, it's like this person is an actor. So I was like, what else have I seen them in? Like, I was kind of distracted throughout the entire play because she played this mayor. And every time she came on stage, I was like, I know that woman. And then after we got out of the play, like I looked on her IMDb, I was like looking and I was like, I don't really know, like, would I have remembered her from these things? Like, maybe I saw her. And then I found this news story that was like, guest star on Succession attacked by a pack of otters. It was her. It was her. It was her. And I recognized her from their People headshot because I was like, that's because when she was attacked by otters, initially everyone sent that to me. And I was like, that's so crazy. Like, don't fuck with otters.
Sabs, that story makes so much sense for you. Like the fact that everyone sent you the story of this woman being attacked by otters. Also, otters scare me. Otters and seals, and also dolphins.
All scary. All scary.
Wait, was she? I'm assuming she was okay because she's.
Sorry. She is okay. It happened like a while ago. She made it back to the stage. She was great in this play. I didn't love the play, but I loved her performance. She played a kooky mayor. And no marks visible from the
otter attack. That's beautiful. I love that for her. Where do I recognize this woman from? She was attacked by otters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Classic.
That's it. I think that's where you should start the next time. You're like, where do I know this person from? You're like, they were attacked by emus.
Did you have any kind of mustelid encounter recently?
Oh, wait, what?
Mustelid is like a group that the otters belong to, I believe. Please don't fact check me and I'm wrong, but I believe that's true.
I mean, the thing is, you could tell me literally anything and I would say that's true. Like, I send you photos of birds all the time and I'm just like, what is this? What's this caterpillar I saw in the street?
That was fun. I love to identify caterpillars. Any readers, send me caterpillars. I would love to identify them.
Yeah, listeners, please send Sabs caterpillars. I mean, we have so many listeners from so many different places. Like, you could get some Australian caterpillars, which I'm assuming it's Australia. That shit's crazy.
They're crazy down there. They're absolutely crazy.
It's like the isolation has breeded some wild things in the people and in the wildlife.
There's that caterpillar in Australia and New Zealand that, like, once it molts, because every caterpillar, as it gets bigger, it doesn't just grow, it like molts its old skin.
Yeah.
After each molt, it eats the rest of its body, but it doesn't eat its head. And then it puts its old head on top of its current head. And so by the time it's like a really big caterpillar, it has this tapering tower of heads that just gets smaller and smaller. It's called the gum leaf skeletonizer. Becomes this beautiful brown moth. Kind of the most iconic, there are probably even more iconic caterpillars.
You're like, actually, let me not speak out of turn.
There's another caterpillar that scientists just discovered from Hawaii. And most caterpillars eat leaves, but this one, like, basically preys on, like, dead insects, and then it takes their body parts and sticks them onto its body. So it's, like, covered in, like, the remnants of its dead prey. Very metal.
That's hardcore.
Caterpillars are doing crazy stuff, and more people should be respecting them.
Did not know that. I was just like, these bitches turn into butterflies. Like, that's crazy enough if you think about it. I'm really trying to think of the logistics of eating every part of yourself but your head. Like, how does one do that?
We'll have to have them on. Next subscriber episode.
We will be hearing from the skeletonizer.
Yeah, the gum leaf skeletonizer.
That's also such a hardcore name. Like, that sounds like a metal band.
Yeah.
Wow. What was the gossip about?
Oh, the porn star.
Yes.
Iconic.
Absolutely iconic. I don't know how we started talking about caterpillars, but I really love the journey
story.
we went on. Yeah, truly. Yeah, no, actually though, do send me. I mean, I'm sure we have the unbleep version. I will find out who this adult porn star is.
Yeah, I need to know.
I will be looking for his work. Thank you for your service, and like, well and truly, both the caller in for alerting me to a new possible favorite, and to this man for his work. I'm gonna pass on the feedback and assume that you're good at your job and say you deserve more kudos. You should get more kudos for that shoulder thing you're doing.
I salute you both. Yeah, it's also funny to think about us trying to talk about this on a work podcast.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, anything goes here.
We did start off talking about how fuckable Jesus was, so it's only suitable that we're ending here
exactly
with another kind of Jesus. I don't know.
Lord and Savior, Messiah. Sure. Mm-hmm. A religion could be formed. If a religion was to be formed around anyone, I think I would say, yeah, sure. I'll see what he's.
Why not this guy?
Singing. Yeah, I'll go to a sermon.
You'll endorse him on LinkedIn. Shoulder.
Executive Director of Feminist Birding Club. Sabs, thank you so much for joining us this month. This was a delight.
Thank you for having me on, Rachel. I had a blast.
Yay. Thank you so much for listening to Normal Gossip. If you have a gossip story to share with us, that email is normalgossip@defector.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 2679-GOSSIP. If you love this podcast and want to support us, become a friend or a friend of a friend at supportnormalgossip.com. You can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at @normalgossip. Normal Gossip is hosted by me, Rachel Hampton. Our lead producer is Sierra Spragley-Ricks. Our subscriber episodes are produced by Jay Tolviera. The co-creators and Dowager Queens of Normal Gossip are Alex Sujan Laughlin and Kelsey McKinney. Defector's project editor is Justin Ellis. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guys. Alex Sujan Laughlin is Defector's supervising producer. Tom Lay is our editor-in-chief. Thanks to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company, and Normal Gossip is a proud member of Radiotopia. Please remember, you did not hear this from me.
Radiotopia.